Kate Middleton's last-minute Christmas error turned into uncomfortable regret in less than a week. The royal family will all be gathering at Sandringham for their Christium celebrations, which seemingly need very careful preparation when deciding what clothes to pack for the trip. King Charles is preparing to head to Sandringham, where he will welcome his family's 4th annual royal Christmas celebrations. The festivities range from formal to fun, with a black-tie dinner on Christmas Eve and after-dinner games after a turkey feast on Christmas Day, and of course watching the monarch's Christmas message. One part of royal Christmas that fans always look forward is the annual walk to church on Christmas morning, which also sees the firm greet well-wishers who turn out to see them. Last year, fans gathered couldn't wait to talk to the Princess of Wales, who was conducting her first real walkabout after returning to duties following her cancer diagnosis and treatment. As ever, she was joined by Prince William and their 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis. During the outing 4 years ago during the walk, it appeared that Kate color coordinated the family's outfits, and they all looked very smart in dark green. And while fans around the world loved their style, it turns out that Kate really regretted her outfit choice for the day, and even told one well-wisher she really shouldn't have worn it. She looked stunning in a heavy gray Catherine Walker coat, with a green hat, bag and heels. But during a quick chat with 19-year-old fan Rachel Anvil, she admitted it was the wrong choice for the unseasonably warm weather. Rachel's mum told Metro, "Kata was talking to my daughter about clothes and how she was feeling too hot. She said I really should have worn this. I am there talking to Charlotte about dolls and my daughter's talking about fashion with Kate. It wasn't fake, it was a genuine discussion. It was about a minute but it was tailored to my daughter. It was like speaking to a friend." Royal Christmases usually feature a morning trip to St. Mary Magdalene Church, the greeting of well-wishers, and a family lunch with turkey and all the trimmings. Kate officially kicked off her family's countdown to Christmas at the beginning of the month with her annual Christmas Carol concert at Westminster Abbey. The princess arrived at the Abbey without her family and before the service began to meet some of the stars performing her giving readings, including Hollywood actors Kate Winslet, Chiwetel Ejiofor and singer Katie Melua. She told Dan Smith, lead singer with Bastille, that her children had been looking forward to the service. "They're really excited, it's become such a tradition." The royal children were later pictured holding candles with the rest of the churchgoers during the service. Outside the Abbey's Great West Door, the family stopped at a connection tree, decorated with paper chains bearing the names of guests. The children added their names to the tree, a symbol of togetherness and the importance of moments of connection. The service recognized individuals from across the UK who may have dedicated or volunteered their time to others, led initiatives that bring people in their community together, or offered a helping hand to those around them. Experts' chilling question over mystery person in royal photo from Epstein files. New photos have been released in the Epstein files, indicating just how into the royal circles the late financier and his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, were welcomed by Andrew Mountbatten. Windsor. The Epstein files shed new light on how Andrew welcomed the sex offenders into royal circles. 2 photos in particular show Ghislaine Maxwell, 63, in the heart of the House of Windsor's inner sanctums. In one image, she's pictured smiling behind a row of women, whose identities have been redacted, seemingly in the saloon at Sandringham, whilst who appears to be Andrew, lies atop their laps, broadly grinning. In another, she and her former partner, Jeffrey Epstein, are pictured in the countryside near the Balmoral estate, where they appear to have been going shooting. Ahead of publication, the House Committee stressed that being named in these documents does not indicate any wrongdoing and that names appear in different contexts, ranging from general social contact to specific business discussions. The pair being featured in photographs from the newly released files is not an indication of wrongdoing. It had previously emerged that Maxwell and Epstein had been invited to the vast Highland property, known to have been the pearl of the royal residences to the late Queen Elizabeth, who saw it as an escape where she was able to spend time with her close family, taking picnics and enjoying the countryside pursuits she so loved. Privately owned, Balmoral is the site of the royal family's annual summer holiday, and King Charles' home there, Burkall, is also said to be one of his favorite places to stay. Sandringham, another estate privately owned by the monarch, is also where another famous royal tradition takes place: the annual Christmas celebrations. The images of Maxwell and Epstein invited into the heart of these private royal spaces only adds further pressure for King Charles to keep his distance from Andrew and his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, an expert has told the Mirror. They should have done this years ago, but at least they've done it now. Biographer Andrew Lowney tells the Mirror about King Charles casting his brother from the fold, and stripping him of his royal titles and styles. Andrew and Fergie are also both poised to move out of Royal Lodge, their long-term home, which they have shared despite their divorce. Andrew was set to move to the Sandringham estate, though it has not been made public which property on the 20,000-acre estate in Norfolk he will occupy. It won't be the main house. Fergie won't be joining him, however, with both her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, reported to have offered their mother to live in their homes. Despite the optics of Andrew moving to Sandringham after this photo seemingly taken at the lavish estate, Lowney does not believe it will change the fact that the former prince will be calling Norfolk home once he moves out of Royal Lodge. Well, I think everyone's been prepared that there is more damaging material to come out, so I don't think it's changed much, the expert, who penned a bombshell biography about Andrew and Fergie, entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York, that was published last summer, explains. But what will be interesting is if correspondence shows more about Beatrice and Eugenie, because at the moment he and Fergie have been cast aside, but they've been taken in. If we discover that they knew much more than they are claiming, then that's going to make cozying up to them more difficult, the expert adds. The expert continues, clearly, Andrew had a pretty dissolute life, and was entertaining all sorts of people at Sandringham, and they were very much part of his inner circle. I think it's possibly from that time when they all went to Sandringham, but it could be from another time. That's the problem with the document dump, he explains. We get no context to any of this. However, it was the new images of Sarah Ferguson in the files that Lowney believed to be most revealing. I think what's more revealing is the picture of Fergie, he says. Why have they taken out that person with her? Who was she? I think her role, her links with Epstein, have never really been fully investigated. We know that their relationship lasted longer than she claims, and everything has been focused on Andrew and Jeffrey. I do think, how much did she know? Why hasn't she been asked to give testimony to the lawyers and the FBI? I think what this is going to show is that there is more to the Fergie side of this. The allegation Thatch was so close to Epstein as to take the children to meet him when he came out of prison, I think is pretty revealing. Epstein alleged to his legal team in an email in 2011 that emerged this year that Sarah took Beatrice and Eugenie to celebrate his release from prison after he pleaded guilty to child sex offenses in 2008. Epstein also alleged in the email that a protection officer accompanied them. Sources claim that Fergie nor her daughters remember this alleged visit. However, questions are still raised for Lowney about what Sarah might have known about Epstein and his sex trafficking network. She stayed Sufton at Epstein's house, says the expert. She must have been aware of the pictures of naked girls, the whole sexualized atmosphere. I mean, we get a sense of that just from some of the casual pictures on his desk, that show what sort of lifestyle he led. Here was a woman, promoting children's charities, writing children's books, dealing with sexual trafficking charities and going and staying at these places. Bringing her children, I mean, she took them off to meet P. Diddy. There's a whole series of pictures of her with people. She went to see Peter Nygard in the Bahamas. This is not the role of a responsible mother, and it's just that she doesn't really care. She has a pretty loose set of morals. Lowney also explains that in his view, Sarah is cynical, more than happy to present one face to the public, and another in private, pointing out that she stayed in touch with Epstein longer than she claimed, emailing him effusively after publicly disowning him just weeks before in 2011. The email she sent, which emerged this year, called Epstein a supreme friend and saw her humbly apologize for speaking about him negatively and saying she abhors pedophilia in an interview with a newspaper. Sarah is also reported to have had her lavish lifestyle bankrolled by Epstein for 15 years, and emails leaked that saw her ask for vast sums from the financier to cover small bills. She has previously apologized for borrowing $15,000 from him. Epstein files picture of Andrew lying over women taken in royal sanctuary. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was stripped of his royal titles earlier this year after it emerged he had been in contact with Jeffrey Epstein after he claimed to have ended their friendship. A previously unseen photo of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor lying on the laps of women in Sandringham has been released in the latest batch of the Epstein files. The black and white snap showed the former Duke of York lying over 5 unidentifiable women as now convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell looked on smiling while standing behind them and next to another woman who was not identifiable. It appeared the photo was taken in the saloon room at the royal family's Norfolk sanctuary of Sandringham. Appearing in photographs as part of the Epstein files release does not indicate any wrongdoing. Andrew has consistently and strongly denied any wrongdoing connected to Epstein. The disgraced former prince was seen wearing a black suit and tie as he smiled while lying across the women. There is no larger context attached with the picture and it is unclear why the women were present. The photo appeared to have been taken in one of the most famous rooms at Sandringham Estate and is known to be where King Charles, Prince William and Kate Middleton will have their afternoon tea over the Christmas holiday. The saloon is found near the entrance to the estate and is regularly used to host guests who sometimes arrive in the dozens. It is also used by the royal family and guests as a venue to watch the pre-recorded Christmas speech and is a tradition that goes back to the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. The event is part of numerous traditions carried out by the royal family and the room is used as a space where they can relax with others. The image will heap more scrutiny and embarrassment on Andrew, who was stripped of his titles and honors related to his position of the royal family. His downfall kicked into full gear earlier this year after it emerged he had been in contact with Jeffrey Epstein in 2011, 1 year after he claimed to have cut off contact with a late convicted child sex trafficker. The photo was released as part of a larger release of documents connected with Jeffrey Epstein. Images show Epstein and other major figures at events in Theus and elsewhere around the world. But Donald Trump and the U.S. Department of Justice have come under intense scrutiny since they were made public yesterday. Many files, including over 100 pages of files, were heavily redacted with dozens of documents being left completely black. When challenged over a reported lack of transparency, the White House cited it was, in fact, the most transparent administration. A White House spokesperson told the BBC, by releasing thousands of pages of documents, cooperating with the House Oversight Committee's subpoena request, and President Trump recently calling for further investigations into Epstein's Democrat friends, the Trump administration has done more for the victims than Democrats ever have. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's Christmas change shows how far ex-prince has fallen. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's Christmas will look a little bit different this year. And that coldly underlines just how far he has fallen over the past 12 months. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's Christmas plans show just how far the disgraced ex-prince has fallen, a journalist has claimed. The former Duke of York is set to celebrate the festive season in Royal Lodge for the last time before he and ex-wife Sarah Ferguson move out. But it is set to be a rather solitary experience for the royal pariahs. Andrew didn't receive an invite to the annual pre-Christmas bash for extended members of the royal family, including his daughters Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, who both attended. The Daily Mail's Barbara Davies wrote, "The absence of an invitation to the monarch's annual pre-Christmas bash for the extended family including Andrew's daughters, coldly underlines just how far the erstwhile Duke of York has fallen over the past 12 months. Andrew and Sarah have also not received invitations to the royal festivities at Sandringham. King Charles' brother and his former wife have previously been allowed to attend the traditional Christmas walk at the Norfolk estate despite Andrew's association with convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Last year, though, they diplomatically stayed away due to Andrew's relationship with a Chinese businessman who security services have accused of being a spy. In October, it was announced that Andrew would be stripped of his prince title while the wheels have been set in motion for his removal from Royal Lodge, the 30-room mansion he has been living in on the Windsor estate. He and his ex-wife need to vacate the property by the end of next October. Andrew continues to deny any wrongdoing in relation to his connection to Epstein. Having already lost the majority of his titles, the 65-year-old was quietly stripped of his last remaining honorary military title this week. The former naval helicopter pilot suffered the indignity of being reduced to the rank of commander, retired, in the Royal Navy. In the run-up to Christmas, Andrew has also been forced to allow Crown Estate executives and staff from the Royal Collection, who look after the huge collection of art held in trust for the nation, to inspect the home. A royal household lorry has already been seen removing items to a Windsor storage facility. Andrew has lived in the sprawling property for 22 years in return for a peppercorn rent, which is a nominal payment required in a lease to make it legally binding. Royal Lodge is reportedly in such a state of dilapidation that Andrew could miss out on a £500,000 windfall when he moves out. The Daily Mail's royal editor Rebecca English said, "The suggestion is that the entire £500,000 that he could have got back for having to leave his lease early could be swallowed up by the repairs." And in yet another to the beleaguered Andrew and Sarah, neither of their daughters is set to visit Royal Lodge this year either.